Welcome to this Functional Skills Level 1 Maths training video. This video contains information and guidance on Criterion 5. Use simple formulae expressed in words for one- or two-step operations. To successfully complete this criterion, learners are encouraged to have already covered and be familiar with the order of precedence, or BIDMAS. Please see Highfield's video covering this criterion if needed. At Level 1, and by the end of this session, you should be able to understand what a formula is and how it can be written in words, identify key information in word-based formulae, use a one-step formula to find the answer, use a two-step formula to solve a problem, and substitute numbers into a simple formula to solve real-life problems. Let's start with what a formula is. A formula is a way to show how numbers relate to each other to solve a problem. It's like a recipe that tells you what to do with the numbers you have. Here is an example of a formula. Total cost equals price per item times number of items. This word-based formula uses everyday words to explain how to find the total cost when shopping. When you are identifying key information in a word-based formula, you should look for important information such as numbers, quantities, or operations like multiply or add. In this formula, the key information is price per item, the multiply operation, and number of items. Here are some top tips. You may want to make a note of these. They may come in useful when answering the questions later in the video. Multiplying letters and numbers. When you see a number directly before a letter, like in P equals 4H or pay equals 4 hours worked, you need to multiply the two values together. Order of precedence. When using formulas, always follow the correct order of operations. For example, if you have a formula like length times width plus 10, calculate the multiplication first before adding 10. This is because brackets come before addition in the order of precedence. Square numbers. Remember, if the formula includes squares, like in area equals side squared, you need to multiply the number by itself, not by 2. Sometimes, when we are solving a formula question, we will need to substitute numbers into the formula. Let's say the formula is pay equals hours worked times hourly rate. You worked for 10 hours and your hourly rate is £8. You can substitute those numbers into the formula. First, replace hours worked with 10, then replace hourly rate with £8. Finally, calculate the pay. 10 times £8 equals £80. If the formula only has one step, you will only need to do one operation to complete the formula. For example, when using the formula total cost equals price per item times number of items, you only need to do one operation. You only need to multiply the price by the number of items. Here are some steps you can use to help you solve questions that use one-step formulae. Identify the key numbers and words. Calculate the answer using the operation. Write the answer. Let's look at an example. The formula for calculating the total cost of an item when shopping is total cost equals price per item times number of items. Calculate the cost of 6 cans of soup. Each can of soup costs 95p. We first need to identify the key numbers and words. We can see that the formula asks for the price per item. Each can of soup is 95p. The formula also requires the number of items. We need to buy 6 cans. Next, we need to calculate the answer using the correct operation. Looking at the formula, we know we need to multiply 95p by 6. 95p times 6 equals 570 pence or £5.70. The answer is £5.70. Now it's your turn. Pause the video while you calculate the answer, then press play when you're ready to continue. Let's check the answer. The formula is total cost equals £15.99 times the number of people. we need to calculate the total cost based on 18 people. Looking at the formula, we can see that we need to multiply £15.99 by 18 people, which equals £287.82. Let's move on to solving two-step formulae questions. To solve these questions, you'll need to do two operations. Steps. Identify the key numbers or words. Identify the operations. Use BIDMAS to identify which operation is first. Calculate the answer using both operations. Write the answer. It's important that you are familiar with the order of precedence, or BIDMAS, to accurately answer two-step formulae questions. Let's look at an example. A restaurant sells pizzas at a price of £11.50 each. They also offer delivery for a fee of £4. Total cost equals price per item times by number of items plus the delivery charge. You decide to order 3 pizzas. Calculate the total cost of the pizzas if you order them for delivery. First, we need to identify the key numbers and words. The formula asks for the price per item. Each pizza costs £11.50. It also requires the number of items, which is 3, as well as the delivery charge, which is £4. Next, we need to identify the operations. The first operation is inside the brackets, multiply. The formula also requires us to add. Using BIDMAS, we know that we need to complete the operation in the brackets first. We need to multiply the price of the pizza by the number we want to order. £11.50 times by 3 equals £34.50. Next, we need to add the delivery charge, which is £4. £34.50 plus £4 equals £38.50. The total cost is £38.50. Now it's your turn. Pause the video while you calculate the answer to this two-step formula, then press play when you're ready to continue. Let's check the answer. Here we have 2t. We are told that t equals 8.5. Therefore, we must multiply 2 by 8.5. This equals 17. Next, we divide by s, which is 5. 17 divided by 5 equals 3.4. So, r equals 3.4. Here's an exam question. Pause the video while you calculate the answer to this question, then press play when you're ready to continue. Let's check the answer. If we use the order of precedence, we know that multiply and divide can be done in the order they appear. Therefore, we first need to calculate 4y, or 4 times y. We know that y equals 17.4. So 4 times 17.4 equals 69.6. Next, we need to divide. X equals 12, so 69.6 divided by 12 equals 5.8. So k equals 5.8. Let's have a go at a problem-solving question. Ben and Joe want to work out how much money they can borrow. Ben earns £28,002 every year. Joe earns £2,725.50 per month. They use the following formula to work out the total amount of money that they can borrow. Total amount of money equals 3.5 times Ben's yearly wage plus Joe's yearly wage. They think they will be able to borrow over £200,000. Are they correct? Let's check the answer. First, we can see that the formula has 2 operations, multiply and add. However, the addition is in the brackets of the formula, so it is calculated first. The formula asks us to add together Ben's yearly wage and Joe's yearly wage. Ben's wages are given as a yearly wage. However, Joe's wages are given monthly, so we need to multiply this by 12, as there are 12 months in a year. £2,725.50 times 12 equals £32,706. Now that we have calculated both yearly wages, we can substitute this into the formula to find their total yearly wage. £28,002 plus £32,706 equals £60,708. Finally, we need to complete the second operation and find out whether Ben and Joe can borrow more than £200,000. We need to multiply their total yearly income by 3.5. 3.5 times £60,708 equals £212,478. So yes, they can borrow more than £200,000 as the final answer is larger than £200,000. You should now be able to understand what a formula is and how it can be written in words, identify key information in word-based formulae, use a one-step formula to find the answer, use a two-step formula to solve a problem, and substitute numbers into a simple formula to solve real-life problems. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.